This week we're going to start creating weldment models and drawings in Inventor. And I've provided you with a pack and go. It's just 3-part files: a cylinder, a base plate, and an upright. And we're just going to use these to practice with on learning how to do weldments. So you can download these, extract them, and kind of follow along. And you're just going to have to play with some of the tools. Now, before we start with this, I'm going to preface a lot of this with saying, wherever you go to work, they're going to have a way of how they want to do things. They may just assemble the parts and then apply welding symbols, just like a regular assembly. They may actually apply the welds in Inventor. They may apply them and not show them. They may apply them and show them. So wherever you go to work, it's going to have a method of how they want you to do things. So having said that, Inventor it can create the welds and the preparations that you would need. And how your company you work for handle things, it could be different at each one. Okay, so start off with create you a project folder. And I just called this one welding tutorial. And then download and extract these 3 parts into that folder. And then we're going to start with a new assembly. Oops, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Okay, so up here, it's a weldment assembly. Okay, it could be there on this folder. If you expand the others to look, there you've got the weldment right there with the ANSI standards. And there's also a metric one, of course. Okay, some of the new things that show up here is you've got the welding tools right across here. You've got a couple of other folders, not folders, but places here in your browser tree of preparations, welds, and any machining. So we'll start just like with a regular assembly, and we're going to bring in our base plate, and then let's bring in our the upright. Okay, now you still have to constrain these things. So let's go ahead and constrain this. I'm going to do the top of that with the bottom of that. And I'm going to flush that side. And then I'll flush this side. Oh, okay, this is going to be difficult. So I'm going to change colors here. To make it easier, I will have changed the colors before you download this thing. Okay, that'll make it a little bit easier for you to see. So I've got this part in here, but still need to constrain that. Okay. Okay, so you'll constrain your 2 parts together. Now let's start with a fillet weld, which is the basic and honestly the most common. So we'll come across here to our weld tab, and we're going to go welds. And something was supposed to pop up and it didn't. Here we go. I was waiting for it to open up. Weird. Okay, so we're going to go with a fillet weld here. And here you choose your 2 surfaces that will be welded. You choose the size of your weld. So we'll leave it at 0.25 for right now. The reason you have a second box is if you have unequal legs. Okay, and I'll come back and demonstrate that. Most of the time, this is the way the leg will be measured. Occasionally, you'll see a throat measurement on this, but it's rare on a fillet weld to see that. If the weld goes all the way through, you don't have to put in any pitch. If it goes all the way through, if you don't have that, okay. So, and then on extents, you can do all the way across, from, to, or a start and a length. Now, a lot of times the all will work fine, but you do have at least one exercise that you're going to be doing into which you cannot use all because you end up going through another part. Okay, so we're just going to start here. So part number one, I'm going to do that. Part number two will be here. And there you see my weld. If it needs to go in a different direction, you would change that. Contour, if it's just flat, you choose flat, and then we got concave and convex, and that depends on your symbol that that you're creating or the information that you're given. And so I'm going to go OK. And so now we see the weld. We said it expanded it over here and added it. So if I need to edit that, I can come back here. And let's make that an unequal leg. And you can see the way it did it there. This was the first part I chose, part one. This was part two. And so that's the way that it made that. Okay, so now then, if let's look at this side here. And let's say we have a groove weld that we have to put in. So we can do some preparation here as opposed to modeling it in our part file. Okay, so I'm going to go preparation, and I'm going to do a sketch on this corner, on this side. What happened? Something didn't work out right. That was weird. 2D sketch right there. And I'm going to put a, you're not grabbing, project geometry. I'm going to make it a 0.1 diameter circle just to make it bigger so that you can see it. And then we'll extrude that. Way through. Oh, I didn't want it to cut both of them. Dummy me. Okay, let's start over here. Maybe I should have trimmed my sketch, eh? So let's project geometry here. I'm going to project all three of those corners. And let's do that circle again. 0.1, and now I want to trim it because I just want a notch there. Okay, and then we'll go through all. Okay, and so that cut a groove through there. And now we go weld, and we've got a groove weld going. And with these, sometimes you just have to kind of play with these and see what you're getting. And so face one is going to be the top surface here. Face two will be the curved surface there. and the fill direction will be up in a vertical method like that. Okay. And now I'll go okay. All right. And so now that created a groove weld across there. If you noticed, in a lot of these, well, it's not showing up now that I've already created it, but there was the option to create a weld symbol. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to redo that one again. And we'll look at the intermittency here, and we'll create a weld symbol. Well, let's do a weld symbol with just the basic there. Okay, and in here you can put in the information that you need. Okay. Okay, and so I didn't put any information in, so that's just a weld symbol. And if you hover over these, you can see a prompt for what they are. Okay, and it will fill that information in. Now this is model based, but it can be brought over into a drawing. Okay, so let's take that out and go back with another fillet weld. But now we're going to do some intermittency, and I'm going to make them a 1-inch long weld. And in my pitch, let's say 2 inches. And we'll see how this looks, okay? Offset, let's say 0.5. What is, I guess I didn't, I didn't hit something right. Oh, I chose them both as one. Duh. Okay. And so now you see how the intermittency and the length and the pitch of the welds work. If let's say I was going to go a start length, and we do a start offset of 0.5 with a length of 4, and you can see it moves it in a little bit before it, and then it goes for whatever length that we had. Okay, so that kind of handles all of, well, let's look at a cylinder. Let's place a cylinder in here. And you can see how that works. So let's constrain this. Okay. Now, I'm not going to constrain the rest of it. You normally would, but I'm just going to go with this. And so now if we do a weld, excuse me, around this of that same size, and I'm going to choose the top surface here and the side and my cylinder. And you see it creates a circular weld around that with no problems. from and to start linked. It would work in here based on your work planes, and you can kind of play with those. But that's pretty much how the welds go. Okay, so now let's start. Let's create a drawing. There we go. Okay, and so let's. Gosh, I am just having a difficult time here today. Now, most of the time when we are placing our welding symbols, we place them in views where we see the profile of the weld. So the front view is be where all of the weld symbols go. The top view is mostly for clarification so that you can kind of see what's what. But in this particular case, this is the view that we would have. And so now we'll go annotate, and we're going to come over here and we're going to go welding symbol. And let's start with this one here. Oh. Now right click and go continue. And then it pulls that in. I thought I had used, I thought I used 1/4 inch. Yeah, weird. Okay, so let's come back in here. Well, I don't know why it's showing up as both sides. That's a weld all around. Maybe that's the last thing that that I used. Okay, so now when you're in here, just like on the other side, you can fill in your information, leg 1, leg 2, the type of weld that you have here. You can change what type of weld the symbol is going to be. The length, if you have a length, and the pitch, okay. Any kind of finishing contour that you're going to have, you would apply that here. Okay. Stagger. Okay. You could put notes in here if you have a note, like Gma or something like that. You can actually double stack symbols so that if you have we'll say a groove weld and then a fillet weld on top of it, you can go add a symbol. See, it popped that one up above. Okay, and see there's how you can change out the symbol on that. All right, now let me, goodness. Okay, and then field weld all around. There we go. That's what I want. Because like I've said in my notes and in some of the other things, weld all around is not the same as weld both sides. Okay. Weld all around is just that. When the weld goes all the way around a part, it's not the same as both sides. If I had a groove weld like this one on this side also, then it would be weld both sides. Okay. All right. So there was that one. And so this one was a, corner. Bell groove. There we go. And it was 1/8 inch. I'm just going to leave it like that. Because if you had lots of other info in there, then you would pull those things out. Okay. And you see, as you can see, it kind of sticks on whatever the last thing you used was. Okay. So that's basically welding symbols. You just got to play with them and kind of see what you're getting with what you're dealing with. Okay. So it's just a matter of learning how the things work. It's not overly difficult. It's just adding it. Now, one of the things sometimes, see, because we just look at this drawing, this looks like another part. And so we can do what's known as a caterpillar. I feel so stupid. Right there, I couldn't see the little yellow lines on the type. Oh, I feel so stupid. Okay. I really do feel stupid for for that. Okay, maybe full width is a better way to do it. I just I feel I feel really stupid for that. I'm sorry, folks. And their infill right here, and we've got different shapes. Okay, so I've got a fillet weld. Okay, got to play with it a bit. Let's try it again here on the a J type. I can't remember what size that was. Um, well, it's definitely not 0.15. I think it's 0.05. Yeah. Okay. It basically fills in a hatch on the profile of the weld. Okay. That's pretty much a tutorial on welding. There's a lot of other, things that can go into this. The more you learn about it, and even here in your model, wrong one. Can't do it here with it already created. Anyway, that's a welding tutorial. You got a couple of assignments this week that you'll work through. They're pretty simple as far as constraining things. But when you create the individual parts, then assemble them, constrain them, and then apply the welds, and then create the drawings with the welding symbols. Do not create a single part file that has the shape of whatever it is that you're doing. Do not create a single part file. create individual parts and assemble them just like a normal assembly. And if you've got questions, reach out to me. Come by the lab and see me or email me, and we will get you straightened out, okay?